27 years of practice. Many patients feel relief even after the very first visit, even when other treatments have failed. Don't give up hope. Call 1-800-PAIN-FREE now and experience the Class 4 deep tissue laser for free. The first 25 callers to 1-800-PAIN-FREE will receive 2 absolutely free laser treatments. These free laser treatments are my gift to you, so that you can see for yourself what our deep tissue laser can do. We're helping people eliminate their pain without the need for drugs or surgery. You have nothing to lose but your pain. Call 1-800-PAIN-FREE now. God bless, and I look forward to meeting you.
Call 800-PAIN-FREE.
Clear, concise, and direct news talk with Bruce DuPois. Weekdays at 10 a.m. on News Channel 8.
Now back to Maryland Governor Hogan's battles with the General Assembly about funding Maryland public schools. On News Talk today, Montgomery County Executive Ike Leggett talked with Bruce DuPois about a big issue facing the governor and the Assembly, and that's funding public schools.
Well, first of all, it's somewhat unprecedented, and I think that the General Assembly has done an outstanding job of basically putting us in a position, because we now have the funds that have been allocated by the General Assembly for educational purposes. That is the geographic cost of education. And it's up to the governor at this point in time to essentially release the fund. So it's not a question whether or not the General Assembly has to do it. They've already done it. And so we have the unusual situation now of waiting to see whether or not the governor would actually spend what the General Assembly had provided for education.
Make the case that he should.
Yeah.
And that the state, I mean, obviously, we all want more money for everything, but it's got to fit within the parameters of what taxpayers in the state can afford, and the political reality, of course, coming out of November, a very unlikely victory by a first-term politician who ran just about exclusively on how much state spending is appropriate and whether things got out of whack during the O'Malley years.
Well, this is what makes this so more unusual, because this balances the budget. So it's not as though you're asking for something that skews the budget in terms of increasing the deficit beyond what it already is. It places the budget in a very good position overall compared to what we had prior to the opening of the session. And so we have the unusual situation that the General Assembly has found ways in which to incorporate this within the budget and meets essentially all of the goals and objectives. And so now at this point in time, if you don't spend this money, it simply goes back into the general fund. And so this is why this is somewhat unusual. But I'm hopeful that the governor would recognize that he campaigned on making sure that education maintains a high priority in the state of Maryland. He wants to create jobs. He wants to expand the tax base. And what better way you could do it than to invest in education?
The GCEI, the Geographic Cost of Education Index, sounds like the most dry thing, you know, this side of the Sahara. Can you put it in terms that folks would understand? What is it? Why is it important?
Well, it's important because there are some jurisdictions throughout the state of Maryland that have a disproportionate impact in terms of cost. And Montgomery County is one of 13 that would have that increase of cost. And so the General Assembly started some years ago to carve out additional funds for those jurisdictions that are disproportionately hit by the cost of education. Montgomery County is one of those. We stand to lose, if this is not approved by the governor, $17.7 million. Prince George's County nearby is $20 million. Baltimore City is a ton of money as well. There are approximately 13 jurisdictions that are affected in some form or fashion with this. Again, I am hopeful and I believe that the governor truly wants to make certain that education is the top priority. I think he wants to ensure that we have the base for jobs and to expand our tax base. And to do that, I'm sure that he understands that education is a top priority, and we need to do so.
Important information. Interesting conversation as well. You can see it all coming up in about 24 minutes. News Talk comes your way at 1 o'clock here. You can watch it online anytime if you go to news8newstalk.com.
And we were talking about a little bit of strong weather out there. We've been talking throughout the day. Jackie's been talking, and myself looking at some of these latest model guidance. We have some really strong winds, just several thousand feet above the surface. And I think because off here to the west in those mountaintops, those strong winds are being translated down, and they put out that warning. There's a couple strikes of lightning, some heavy rain, but some dangerous gusts of possibly 50+ miles per hour. The storm has actually weakened quite a bit as it's crossed the mountains here from Point of Rocks to Frederick to Walkersville. Devin Lucy back in the Weather Center, giving us the very latest on the track and giving you an idea idea over the next 30, 45 minutes where this action will be heading as it continues to track off to the east-northeast at about a good clip, almost 50 miles per hour, from Jefferson to Walkersville around 1244, Frederick around 1245, but definitely has lost some steam having come across the mountains. But still some heavy downpours and a few lightning strikes there from Charlestown, Pointe aux Rocks, Frederick, heading towards Walkersville into Thurmont and moving westward toward, rather eastward towards Westminster, Mount Airy, and Damascus. So we'll continue to watch that. Now, the National Weather Service did put a wind advisory out for areas just to the west because those winds were really strong just off the surface, and some of those winds through some of these showers and storms are being brought down to the surface in excess of 55 miles per hour. So Frederick, Maryland, Western Loudoun, Jefferson, Clark, Berkeley, Morgan, Fauquier, westward, all under that wind advisory through 8 o'clock for the potential for some of those gusty winds. You can see that line of showers, and as Jackie was even pointing out, some wintry weather in southwestern PA mixing in spots as well out there. So kind of crazy. This moisture will come through here in the next couple hours. I think it'll quickly be moving out of here. And as we head through the evening, I think things will be calming down. Futurecast shows us here at 2 o'clock these showers exiting to the east of the city, and by 6, 7 o'clock we should be drying out, and that'll be good for the evening. Tomorrow, still a little bit of a breeze and some cooler weather. Look at Futurecast trying to hint at some snow showers on the slopes of the mountains to the west tomorrow morning. I'm not trying to laugh, but here we are later April. We had the 80-degree, and here we're talking about the potential for some wintry weather to the west. Tomorrow it'll just be partly sunny, and I think tomorrow we're hard-pressed to get out of the upper 50s. So look at that cooler air moving in. 45 right now in Cumberland. It's 47 in Petersburg, 57 in Martinsburg, and here we are at 71 downtown. So that cooler air will be moving in from northwest to south and east. I think the moisture should be out of here by the evening, but temperatures will be dropping back. Quick passing shower, rumble of thunder, and definitely some gusty winds. That one warning to the northwest will be allowed to expire at 1. We'll let you know if any more warnings are issued or if these will just be more of the run-of-the-mill. But the biggest story, I think, out there through the afternoon, those winds and eventually the falling temperatures. If we head to Nats game tonight, I think it'll be good. We'll dive into that hour-by-hour forecast coming up in a little bit. Dave, back to you.
Brian, thanks. Department of Justice is joining the quest to find out exactly what happened to Freddie Gray. The 25-year-old was injured while in the custody of Baltimore City Police. He died from his injuries last Sunday. Karen Travers has more on the call for answers from protesters in that city.
Demonstrators took to the streets of Baltimore, demanding justice for Freddie Gray.